Alrighty, guys. Hopefully, you can hear me loud and clear. I want to welcome everybody back to another episode of True Crime in the Morning. I am your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the Grant Solomon. Um, really, I would call it an unsolved mystery at this point, or a suspicious death. I can't make heads or tails of it. So, once again, I'm going to need help from everybody here in the chat to try to understand what's going on here. And we will get going in just a few minutes. I do want to welcome in Christine, Beach Fairy, my guy Farmer, Audra Kessler, Saska Rose. Good to see you. Okay, now the story that I bring you is from Franklin, Tennessee. He died in Gallatin, Tennessee. That is Grant Solomon. From everything that I've gathered, he was a great kid, had just turned 18 years of age when he tragically died, and what was ruled an accident. But if you take a closer look, there's definitely some very suspicious, um, I guess, circumstances surrounding this incident. He's a very talented athlete. Was a talented athlete. Beach Fairy says there's a change.org petition set up by Grant's mother in this case. Yep, you can find that link. Please go sign that. It is in the description of this video. There's also a GoFundMe if you'd like to help with legal fees and things like that. And also, there is a Facebook group dedicated to Grant, started by his mother Angie and his sister Gracie. You can find those links in the description. And a couple of the articles that we'll be reading, everything will be linked in there as well. Thank you for that, Beach. Yeah, there's definitely something going on with this case. And we're definitely not here to accuse anybody. You know, although we will be presenting as many facts as we can find about this case when it comes to accusations and things like that. It's pure speculation. It's not our intention to accuse anybody. You know, everything is just my opinion. It's for educational purposes. And there's no intentions of slandering anybody. Welcome in, Phil Bond. Yeah, we're going to be looking at the Freedom for Gracie website. I'm pretty sure I did link that in the description as well. If not, I will make sure to get that linked in there. Okay, the only witness to what exactly happened is claiming to be not much of a witness at all, but the person who was with him when this tragic event happened was his father, Aaron Solomon. Aaron was a former news anchor with WSMV Channel 4 a while back and was really the only person to kind of create the narrative of what happened that day. I think it's important that we discuss a little bit of that history. So, Grant's father, Aaron, and his mother, Angie Solomon, had long been divorced. And from my understanding, with his status, he was locally considered famous, being a sports broadcaster and on a news anchor and things like that. It was a high profile divorce. It was very public, and I guess it was very messy. There was a long custody dispute, and eventually it was Aaron who got full custody of the kids and would sometimes deny visitation to Grant's mother, Aaron, or Angie. Sorry about that. Well, throughout this messy divorce, there were accusations of attempted murder, and it's rumored that Grant actually witnessed an attempted murder by his father of his mother. And publicly, his sister Gracie and his mother Angie have come out and stated that um, the abuse was extensive. There was rape, molestation of the young daughter Gracie, who has bravely come forward to speak her truth. And they're all very suspicious of what happened with Grant. There was a rumor that he was hoping to accomplish getting custody of his little sister, who was 13 at the time. And because the mother wasn't able to, Grant was quote unquote extremely connected. After he left Channel 4, he became a financial advisor for some very powerful people. It said that he rubbed shoulders with mayors, police chiefs, prosecutors, things along those lines. So they're painting a picture that he's extremely connected. And if he wanted to get away with something, he would have the connections to do something like that. Um, but I do find it strange that he had just turned 18, and I'm assuming that's the age you would need to be to take custody over a sibling. I'm not sure. But the fact that he just turned 18, hadn't spoken with his father in over 2 years in person, the day that they decide to meet, and the way it's playing out in my head is that they possibly were in the truck together, right? But once we go over the details of exactly what happened that day, the story that Aaron told law enforcement of what happened, it really doesn't add up, guys. And I'm going to need some help from you to make sense of it. We're going to go over all the details, the medical reports, the statements from first responders, statements from Grant's father, Aaron, and we're going to try to make sense of this. So, Grant on the right, his mother, Angie, in the middle, and his younger sister, Gracie, on the left, who claims that her father, Aaron, the only one to witness what happened to Grant, molested and raped her. And she's come out very bravely to state that publicly. Yeah, I think he's 6'5". Was 6'5". Yeah, Speech Fairy. I had a great weekend. Thank you. Went by really fast, though. I hope you guys had a good weekend as well. Hey, thank you, Alex. Good afternoon to you. So I want to thank Farmer and Alex for sponsoring today's live stream. Beach says it's so sad the family have been trying so hard to get this case looked at ever since. Like Greenberg's parents fighting against possible corruption. Can't be easy to get people to listen. No, you can't. It's kind of like the Noah Prescott case as well. Very strange. But I think that one is close to being solved. This one's just very suspicious considering the fact that he hadn't seen his father in 2 years. He was planning to fight for custody of the daughter, his younger sister. And the very moment that the first time they're meeting in 2 years, you have a tragic accident. And it just so happens there's no cameras, there's no witnesses, nothing like that. And the scene that I want to, potentially a crime scene, it just tells a story of staging and lying, possible psychopathy. But I want you guys to be the judge. Like I said, I'm not here to accuse Aaron's father. We just cannot ignore the fact that all the cases that we've covered and all the crimes that have been covered up and eventually truth prevailed. We know how easy it is to cover up a crime, especially if you're connected. And it's not that you're connected to corrupt law enforcement or corrupt politicians. What it is that they're just more likely to believe your story, right? They're going to be biased. They're going to discount the disgruntled wife, right? Of course she's mad. She lost a custody battle, ugly divorce, this and that. Of course she has reason to drag Aaron's name through the mud. You're going to believe your friend, your business partner, or whatever it may be, and you're going to ignore the wife or the ex-wife. She has motive to lie. But the difference here in this case is when she's kind of explaining how it doesn't make sense, I agree with her. It really does not make sense. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that throughout the live stream. But you can ultimately, you'll be the judge of that. Karen Brown, welcome in. Sorry, Sleuth, can you repeat that? Who was molested by who? Well, according to Grant's mother, Angie, and his sister, Gracie, they were both abused. Grant was abused. Gracie has come forward saying that she was molested and raped by her father, Aaron. Publicly. I don't know, Farmer. Farmer's asking, how hard is it to reverse it when they make a decision to call it accidental? Well, you need powerful people to step in. And anybody that signed those documents saying, hey, this was an accidental death, that means that they're wrong, right? And we know what it's like dealing with egos. So they're going to need immense pressure to combat those egos and a lot of attention on the case. Yeah, this weekend went by real fast, Beach Fair. Christine, it's extremely sad. I mean, this kid had a really bright future. And if what his mother and sister are saying about his father, he could potentially be, a psychotic monster. And we're not here to make any of those accusations. We're just here to listen to this information. Allegedly. Yeah, and the only motive I can see here is that he was a protector of his mother and especially his sister. And if he's looking to take custody, maybe that pissed him off. Maybe he was sick of that. You know, you think you can stop me? You don't know what you're up against, right? Says the psychotic mind. You're welcome, Karen. No arrests, no, from what I understand, no interviews of Aaron about the accusations. I mean, why would a 13-year-old girl come out and publicly say, "Hey, my father raped me," unless it was true? And even though Aaron had custody of Gracie, she ran from him back to her mother. Karen, we're gonna get to it. um, we the live stream has just started. All right, I think we'll start here with an article from redlibertymedia.com. Link is in the description. And this is by Lauren Conlin. Looks like it was updated January 23rd. Saska says, I've not heard of this case. No, this was a new case to me. Somebody sent this to me I think in an email. One of you guys sent it over. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. I mean, it didn't make sense. At first, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's an accident. But when you start learning about the details, where his body was placed, the information about the father, I mean, he could have motive. And he could have the brain and the connections to pull it off. Crime scene, there's no cameras anywhere. No businesses behind where they were parked. There's literally no CCTV footage. All you have is Aaron's word. And when you hear about the history, it becomes very concerning. We know all about how killers will inject themselves into the case to control the narrative. They feel that they're smarter than investigators. It's very rare that they are. You know, it would take somebody suffering from psychopathy to do something like that. And we're not here to make those accusations, you know, once again, hypothetically. But it would be easy for somebody to plan this out of rage, cover their tracks, and use their influence to steer it in a certain direction. Welcome in, Boston. Good to see you. Okay, now this happened on July 20th, 2020 at 8:40 a.m. And let's go ahead and dive in here. I selected this article because it basically covers everything, all aspects of this case. Franklin, Tennessee is a beautiful, affluent, and historic city located about 30 miles outside of Nashville. It boasts being home to celebrities like Carrie Underwood, Tim McGraw, and Brad Paisley. This southern town is a true Bible Belt community with shiny Baptist churches appearing every mile or so. Franklin, Tennessee was also the home to star high school baseball player Grant Solomon. Grant wasn't like any other teenager. There was something different about him. In addition to having the most amazing smile, Grant was mature, faithful, spiritual, respectful, humble, and genuinely kind person. He was known for being a fierce and true protector of his mom and little sister, Gracie. Grant's parents, doctor of pharmacy, Angelia Solomon, and former WSMV news anchor, Aaron Solomon, were notably divorced by 2020. They had been in a brutal custody battle for almost 7 years. And it wasn't exactly a private matter. Aaron Solomon was a local celebrity that everyone knew from his days anchoring the news. He supposedly rubbed elbows with people like the governor, local politicians, respected judges. They all attended the same megachurch, Grace Chapel. After Grant and Gracie spent years living with Aaron, he was able to convince the court his ex wife Angie was crazy. Crazy, yet still had to work as a pharmacist to pay child support. Grant and Gracie had finally had enough and ran off to live with their mom. Both kids claimed Aaron was controlling and allegedly abusive, physically, verbally, and unfortunately sexually towards Gracie. They were now of age to choose which parent they wished to live with, and both wished for Angie. By 2020, Grant was 18 and Gracie 13. Even amidst a global pandemic, Angie, Grant, and Gracie felt a sense of normalcy return to their lives because they were finally together again. That is until July 20th, 2020, the day that Gracie and Angie's world collapsed. By this point, the Tennessee Department of Children's Services had substantiated Gracie's claim of sexual abuse and granted a no contact order between Gracie and her father. The Franklin police were also informed of the abuse. However, no arrests were made. Grant kept the peace with his father, texting him and allowing him to attend his baseball games and practice. It kept Aaron from bothering Gracie and Angie. Aaron had high hopes for Grant to play professional baseball at an Ivy League school. He made an expensive and exclusive appointment for Grant to attend a private baseball clinic at the Ward Performance Institute of Gallatin, Tennessee, on July 20th, 2020. Gallatin was about 50 miles from Franklin. We'll catch up on the chat here real quick, and then we'll continue on. Yeah, the way they're painting it here in this article is that he kept a good relationship with his father to kind of keep him at bay. Like I'll be the son that you want me to be, which most likely, was to keep up his public image, right? Look how successful my son is. I raised a professional baseball player, which is not an easy task. I mean, you have to be very dedicated from a young age to become a professional athlete like that, in most cases. Kelly says mental illness makes people uncomfortable. It's weird to me, but maybe that's because I suffer from it and I know we aren't all violent and people harming individuals. Yeah, not everybody who suffers from psychopathy at that is a violent criminal. That's why when they stand trial, most times they are considered competent to stand trial and they can't take the insanity plea because they're not insane and they know right from wrong. They just may struggle with empathy and things like that. Here, let me play a little clip. At least I thought I had a clip here. Hold on. Yeah, here it is.
We'll have much more coverage. We're actually going to take our first break in more than 5 hours now. We're going to take one quick break. We'll be right back with more of the massive flooding coverage.
So that's him there. Grant's father, Aaron Solomon. I think he's most known for sports broadcasting. When Grant arrived in Gallatin, and I hope I'm saying that right, the morning of July 20th, Aaron was already in the parking lot. Shortly after Grant arrived, Aaron became the only witness of a single car accident that killed his only son. Aaron alleged that Grant was getting his baseball gear out of the bed of his truck as it was parked on a steep incline. The car must have malfunctioned or was not placed in park as it rolled backward over Grant, dragging him over 60 feet into a ditch. Grant tragically died after being transported to Sumner Regional Medical shortly thereafter. What was suspicious and shocking was that Grant's body did not match what was expected of someone who was dragged under a hot car for 60 feet. In fact, his body showed minimal injury, minus a scrape to his neck, or excuse me, scrape to his cheek and a blow to the back of his head, which was tied to the official cause of death, blunt force trauma. The Gallatin police showed up the scene of the accident of 57 for 57 minutes total, took Aaron Solomon's statement, and closed the case. Many were baffled by their lack of investigation. Not even an accident reconstruction on the bizarre 911 call. Aaron mentioned 3 men were helping Grant in the ditch, but police never identified the 3 men. Or if they did, they certainly didn't share their findings with Angie. Angie and Gracie were beyond devastated. Grant was their whole world. After Grant's death, Aaron began exhibiting more strange behavior. He didn't ask for an autopsy. Even though Grant had COVID, at the time of his death, he drove the Toyota truck that killed his only son for months. Didn't he say the truck malfunctioned? Why would he be driving it around? In his eulogy for Grant, he overexplained how one of his friends found Grant's hat, cell phone, and glasses in the ditch at WPI and returned those items to him. Also, another example of bad police work. Let's catch up on the chat. Yeah, I think they have almost 400. They need 500,000 to sign that petition. And also, I'll pull up some names, phone numbers, and emails that you can call and write to request that somebody opens up this investigation like it should be. Hey, Frank, good to see you. Beach Fairy says, wow, YouTube is heavy with ads lately. I've had the live interrupted by 3 sets of ads so far. Yeah, I have it set to balanced. So I don't know if that might be the reason. Might be the settings that I put on it. Says balanced, but then it's balanced in their opinion, in their favor. In 2021, Gracie Solomon, now 14, made a YouTube video alleging that law enforcement and others would not listen to her previous pleas, saying that she therefore was forced to go public to protect herself. Gracie bravely came forward and delivered shocking allegations that Aaron had been sexually assaulting her since she was a child, and she alleged that she believes her father had something to do with her brother's death. Gracie also claimed that Grant had plans to out his father for the abuse since he had just turned 18, which she speculated was her father's alleged motive in wishing harm on her brother. Grant was my protector and my mom's. I didn't realize how much he protected us. However, now that he's gone, my dad is attacking me again, Gracie stated in the video. She also claimed that her school and church knew about the sexual abuse and she was suffering at the hands of her father and did nothing. Aaron Solomon followed a defamation lawsuit against his daughter Gracie and ex wife Angie Huffins Solomon, plus a group of others who were speaking out against him in Tennessee. The former news anchor maintains that he had nothing to do with his son's death and that the allegations brought against him by his daughter are false. According to the Nashville Scene, the defamation suits were dropped by Aaron, but he plans to file again in federal court. I'll take a quick break. It's good to see you, Boston. Mustang, welcome in. So, I mean, there definitely seems to be a motive there. You raise your son to be a dedicated and hard worker, setting the goal to become a professional athlete. Well, somebody like that is going to have a huge platform. Realizing that you've been a monster, allegedly, you just provided a platform for somebody to out you as that monster. So you may want to get rid of that possibility, right? And if you are suffering from psychopathy, you may not. Murder is always on the table for somebody like that. It's always an option. GP, thank you for the 10-month flex. Good to see you. Yeah, I have noticed it too. Not sure if there's something I can do about it. Yep, welcome in everybody. Hiawatha, good to see you. Mustang, always good to see you as well. Grant's tragic death has so many holes and conflicting details. Why won't the state of Tennessee reopen the investigation? Why won't the media cover this story or look into the inconsistencies? Many content creators, podcasters, and YouTubers are spreading the word, but that's where it stops. Letters have been written to the governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, to which he's ignored. Calls have been made to the Sumner County District Attorney, Ray Whitley's office, to which he claims the case is closed. In 2022, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson attempted to push a bill forward that will close all public records in non-criminal deaths. Why? It was through the Freedom of Information Act that Angie Solomon was able to obtain the bizarre 911 call, Aaron's written statement, the medical records, and abysmal police report. Johnson claims he was pushing this bill due to the suicide of country music legend Naomi Judd and out of respect for her family. What about other families who deserve answers? Yeah, and some cases it's not always a self-inflicted wound, right? We know that crime scenes are staged and they might be made to appear to be that way. So wouldn't you want an investigation? In December of 2023, a formal complaint was filed by a group of concerned citizens in Franklin, Tennessee, against the school that allegedly failed to report Gracie's abuse, Grace Christian Academy. The pending complaint was filed with the mayor's office, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. We've barely scratched the surface of this case. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out below resources. And here's a good list of, I guess, the strange details surrounding this case. Unindicted co-conspirator, welcome in. Good to see you. Yep, exactly, Beach Fair. if they opened up the investigation, it'd be like a slap to his face, right? It's like, why are you opening up the investigation? You know I'm the only witness. You know about the allegations. There's been no charges brought against Aaron. So it's really not official until then, right? Okay, important to note about Grant's death here. Number one, Grant's shoes and socks were in perfect condition despite Aaron's account of Grant being dragged underneath a car down a ditch. So remember, Grant, he didn't say that he was dragged. That was his speculation. He said that he was looking down and he was looking at sending or looking at a work email. And that when he looked up, the vehicle was already moving backwards, all the doors were closed, and he was not sure if Grant had been hit or was behind the vehicle at the time. He didn't really know that until he got out of the vehicle and went and looked. That's when he saw his son under the vehicle and called 911. And we're going to hear the 911 call right after this. Grant's body was in near perfect condition, despite Aaron's account of Grant being dragged underneath the hot car and trapped. And once again, he doesn't know if he was dragged. He was just assuming. So remember, he did not tell law enforcement that he witnessed his son being dragged. That's just him assuming and him speculating on what could have happened. Grant's cause of death was determined to be cardiac arrest due to a blunt force trauma. There was a large skull fracture to the back of his head. Gallatin PD did not speak to anyone besides Aaron Solomon or even try to find the three men he referred to on the 911 call, to the knowledge of the public through freedom of information. Gallatin PD spent 57 minutes at the scene before wrapping up their investigation. Yeah, it's very dismissive there. Gallatin PD has an accident reconstruction team in-house and declined to use them. It doesn't sound like they did their due diligence, which is adding, fuel to this fire. Before Grant's mother, Angie, could arrive at the hospital, an autopsy had been declined, even though the injuries did not match the police report or Aaron's description of what happened. Beachfrey says the 911 call was sus. The dad was talking to apparent people in the background who somehow were somewhere to be seen when the ambulance pulled in just moments later and have never come forward. The truck was found in park, in the ditch. How did it roll down there in the first place if it was in park? A private forensic analysis confirmed that the truck did not malfunction. Grant's sister, Gracie Solomon, currently has no contact order in place against her father, Aaron Solomon, as the Tennessee Department of Children's Service has substantiated her claims of sexual abuse. Family court, however, has not. Okay, we're going to pull up the 911 call. You guys give me a moment here. I just realized that I have no water, just my coffee here. So that kind of dries out my throat. Give me about a minute or two. I'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, I appreciate that. Let's get a good look at where this happened. Okay, now I went back to 2019. This is the closest I've seen to what it actually looked like. You know, they had this, oh wait, did I just switch it over? Sorry. Yeah, 2019. Is it not going to stay there? I guess I got to leave that up. Okay, that's fine. What the heck? Guess it's not going to stay there for us. Anyway, this is what it looked like. They kind of changed it around. The grass is much more well kept. Sorry about that. So apparently Aaron was parked right here to the right of where this black vehicle is, this pickup. And Grant was parked right here, kind of matching up with where the door is. According to Aaron, he got out of the vehicle, grabbed his ball bag, and I think his baseball bag was kind of laying over here somewhere. I could be wrong on that one. But here, let's go to the 911 call.
I'm
trying. I'm trying.
Where's your emergency?
It's 1357 South Water Street. It's off 109. Please hurry.
You said 57?
Please hurry.
Okay, what's going on?
1357. My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and dragged him into the ditch, and it's on top of him. He's trapped under the truck, and somehow it drug him underneath it. Yes, my son is under it. I'm trying to call 911.
Okay, what's your name?
Oh my God. My name is Aaron Solomon.
And you said
oh my God.
1357 South Water Avenue, right?
Yes.
How old
yes.
is the male?
He's 18. He just turned 18 a couple weeks, about a month ago. It's my son. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is not good.
Is he awake?
Oh, please hurry. I don't think so. He's not alert, right? No, he's out. And he's trapped. I got 3 guys here, and he's trapped under the truck.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I understand, sir. Stay on the phone with me while we get somebody out there. What's your name?
Aaron Solomon.
All right, Aaron.
Huh?
What kind of vehicle is it?
It's a Toyota Tacoma, and the vehicle he's underneath the vehicle.
Okay, I've got that.
And it's.
Okay, I've got that. What color is it?
It's a white truck. That's my son. It's somehow backed up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on with 911 right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Was your son working on it?
No, he was just getting out of it. It's the hill. We're on an incline, and I guess he didn't have it in park or something, or it wasn't engaged, or. Oh my God. Oh my God, I can't believe
still not
this.
responding?
No.
And he's still
No.
under trust. No one can get
Yes.
him from under it.
No,
We've got units en route to you. I'm just asking you questions for we can
Huh?
update them, okay? Can you check and see
Huh?
if he's breathing?
Somebody's telling me that he's coming too.
Okay.
Maybe.
He is waking up,
Maybe.
kind of keeping still. So he is
Well, he
breathing?
can't. Yeah, he can't move. I don't think he can move. I don't know.
Okay, I understand.
No, he can't move. He's trapped.
Okay, we got somebody en route. Now, when he wakes up, he might
I'm
be
telling
scared.
him,
Can somebody just
I'm
get
telling
down
him.
there and talk to him?
Yeah, somebody talked to him. Shit. Gee, there's blood. What, is he facing up or down? He's facing up. They said he may aspirate. We need to hurry. Oh my God.
So does he have blood coming out of his mouth?
Yeah, there's blood coming out. Yeah, somehow it drug him down, I think. I don't know whether it wasn't in park or what, or if it didn't engage the brake, or it drug him underneath somehow.
Okay.
They said he's facing up.
Okay.
But he's bleeding from his mouth. So, Grant, turn your face to the side if you can, barely, but be careful.
Don't move him, okay?
We can't move him. We can't move him. Oh my God.
All right, Beeson, they're there. I'm going to let you go, okay?
Yeah, okay. All
Okay.
All right, guys, what do you think about the tone of voice and what you heard there in that 911 call? I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Karen says, I wonder how many knew of the allegations because you think someone would help. That's disturbing. It was right in the middle of a really messy divorce and a custody battle, so I don't know. I'm sure they had plenty of excuses of why they weren't taking it seriously. But something like that coming from a child, I mean, you just can't overlook something like that. You got to be a special type of scumbag, regardless of who you're connected to. Okay, so let me play another video. I'm going to play a couple. We're going to watch Grant's mother kind of somewhat questioning Aaron, and he's walking her through what happened. Maybe we'll watch that first, and then we'll listen to Drew Hall. He was an employee that worked there, and he didn't see it happen, but he came out after the fact, and he's going to give his eyewitness account. I think he gave that to Daily Mail. The link is in the description for Daily Mail for that one. Then we'll go ahead and we'll follow that up with the statements from first responders and law enforcement that showed up to the scene. And then we'll kind of talk about what you guys think will happen. I'll show you some of the things I put together, and we'll have an open discussion at that point. So let's go to Aaron Solomon's account. I think maybe a day or two after or later in the day. I'm not quite sure. Still on scene.
All right,
Here.
So I'm literally
Your part's here.
sitting right there. We both pull in. I'm
Yeah.
in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
My car's still running.
Yeah,
Last time I see Grant
right.
is literally like this. And I see him. I don't see the truck rolling yet.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't even see it roll until I see it kind of settling back there. Right at that time, I get like a word email, and I'm like, I just looked down for a second to see. So I didn't see to the point where he gets to this. This is the last thing I see.
Did he close that door?
He was close.
Okay, another strange thing is if he's getting his bag out of the back seat, not the back of the truck, why does he need to go around the back of the vehicle?
Closing the door when I saw him, and
So
and the doors were closed
Yeah.
when I get out. So I don't.
So why are you getting your bag and then going the long way around your truck when you can just go through here, near the front of the truck, between the front of the business and the front of the vehicle? Why are you going around the truck?
Know when the truck started rolling, because I told Tim, I said, Tim, if I had seen it start, I would have jumped out. If I see the truck rolling, I'm going to jump out. And
Yeah.
be like, hey, get away from it,
Right.
just like
Oh,
whatever.
Of course.
Or make sure, try to pull him away or whatever.
You wouldn't have had
So
time.
I don't know whether he had
Yeah.
gotten to this or if it started rolling and he goes back. I don't know.
So then next.
So all I know is I look down, then I look up, and I see I look over here and I don't see the truck. I look in
Before we get into this any further, let's talk about that 911 call. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. The few things that stood out to me was he didn't go down and check on his son. He wasn't down there. He didn't see. He didn't look for himself. He even says at one point he was told not to because he could have slipped and fallen. And the fact that he wasn't down there checking for himself is a little alarming. To see what injuries and what exactly happened to his son. Why wasn't he down there? And when they said, go talk to him, why wasn't he down there talking to him, checking to see how he can help? So those are just some of the things that stood out to me. Farmer, you think are you a little bit suspicious? He's talking to people in the background who have never been found to exist. So weird. Well, witnesses did see him with three men, apparently, who had just stopped to make sure that somebody was calling 911 and that somebody was taking, control of the situation. And they, I could see them. The fire truck pulls up and they're like, okay, no reason for us to be here. And then never think about it again. Like, oh man, horrible accident today. Not everybody's on social media. And so I think it is possible, but it is a little suspicious. Hiawatha said he'd rather kill his son than admit his wrongs. Well, if you built up your son to be this all-star athlete and he's headed right for the pros, that's going to give him a platform. He's going to have a huge following. Well, that just means he now has an audience to hear how horrible of a father you were, allegedly, right? To me, that's a motive. And he's over here kind of going through the story. And one thing I've noticed about people who eventually get caught, and I'm not saying he's guilty of anything, but people who try to cover up a crime through a 911 call, they're always trying to explain what happened. Oh, this happened. And instead of saying, hey, can you get here? My son might he's in trouble right now. He might be dying. He's kind of giving details. Like, oh, he was dragged and this happened and that happened. All he needed to say was, look, my son is pinned under a vehicle and it's crushing him. Like, what's with all these other details that you didn't even witness? You didn't see him. You didn't see the truck back up over him. You didn't see him get hit by the truck. You didn't see him being dragged under the truck. Why are you providing all of those details? Right? It's like you're trying to tell the story. You're creating the narrative. It's like proactively telling the story, the official story, right? And just the fact that somebody that has allegedly attempted to kill his mother, raped his sister, and has motive to kill you is the person who's providing the narrative. So that's why this case is so suspicious, and why I'm calling it an unsolved mystery at this point. It is extremely suspicious because of what we know about psychopathy, what we know about crimes that get swept under the rug, and how they get swept under the rug, right? They all start with somebody controlling the narrative and no witnesses and no CCTV footage, no video cameras anywhere near here. And he's there before his son. Like, what is going on here? And then we're going to get into the strangeness of the actual how his body was found. His body was found facing the building. He wasn't even found behind the truck. He was found in front of the truck with his head facing the building, facing upward. Now, if you can explain how something like that happens and then not have like a crushed spine, broken ribs, because the only way that's going to happen is if you completely roll over and are being forced and crushed into a certain position. The wounds are not consistent with that. Good to see you, Boston. Hiawatha is setting the narrative. Yeah, he is. That's one thing that's standing out to me. And we've seen that in all the 911 calls where eventually the truth comes out. They're always trying to paint the picture, the official story, right? If I just tell my story first, that'll be the official story. And if there's nobody there to discount it or to argue it away, no witnesses, no video camera, no nothing, I mean, what else can you do? You have to do the investigation. You have to do the crash recreation. You have to bring in investigators and specialty groups to figure that out. Kelly says the call was troubling. Farmer says it sounds staged. Yeah, and that's another thing Hiawatha. Hiawatha says, he said, we can't move him. The ambulance pulls up. There is no we. I mean, there definitely is a we. We have a witness, and I'll show you. He says that there was 3 people out there in high visibility vests that apparently just pulled in once they saw the truck backed in and almost coming onto the main road. But the fact that he admitted that he didn't go down there to investigate himself. So how does he know? How is he part of the we? He hasn't even been down there. And why aren't you down there? I don't understand. Why aren't you under the truck taking a good look at assessing the situation? That's very strange to me. Oh, they told me not to go down there because I might slip and fall. Like, what the fuck? To me, that, and I'm just telling you what stood out to me. And when you have a traumatic situation like this, there's no handbook. So we can't hold him to the fire, too harshly, because you never know how somebody's going to respond. But those are very strange. What do you mean we can't move him? You haven't even been down there to see if you can move him. You don't know the extent of, even the witness that we're going to hear about knew more about the status of Grant than his own father did. So I found that very strange. Yeah, we have a witness, Beach Fairy, who saw 3 individuals who were out there on the scene. So thought he was full of it. They saw no one else. It'll be hard. It's an uphill battle for sure. Hey, good to see you. Fix Solve says, I'm not believing the dad in this one. Something seems off. I agree. The 911 call is strange. You know, getting all the facts out there, like, look, this is what happened. Even though he's already admitted, I didn't see anything. He said, I looked over. Grant was getting out of the truck. He was getting into the back seat. I looked down to check a work email. By the time I noticed what was going on, the vehicle was already settling in the ditch. But yet on the 911 call, he's giving a perfect description of what happened. I don't know what happened. There must have been a malfunction. I don't know. It must have came out of park. He's giving this story of an accident. And remember, they found the vehicle in park. So I don't know if it could have hit the ditch and finally settled into park. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But the report says it did not malfunction. Karen says it's very hard to tell any act of guilt or innocence in this call. He's in shock either way. I don't know. I just don't understand why he's not down there. Like, he should be down there on the ground, getting muddy, getting dirty, talking to his son. Are you okay? Because maybe he needs to give him CPR. Maybe he can free him. Why doesn't he have a firsthand account of his son's situation? Instead, he literally sat on top of the hill and says, I was told not to go down there because I might slip. Very strange, in my opinion. Karen says maybe they were fighting and he jumped out of the truck, I don't know. If anything, if he is responsible for this, he would have been in the passenger seat and simply put it in reverse and steered like this from the passenger seat. Fig says he's in shock. If he already knew he was dead at that point of the call, he was only supposed to be stuck and hurt. Yeah, that's true. Beach Fairy, the dad must have had imaginary friends on the scene with him. Well, we're going to hear from a witness here who corroborates that. So he didn't want to look at what he did out of anger. Exactly. He didn't want to see what he did. And there's even a little bit of concern in his voice when they say, oh, he's coming too. That's when he says, oh, shit. That's the only real time you hear concern is when they're like, oh, he's coming back too. He's like, oh, shit. That's the first time you hear the concern in his voice. Saskis's dad should have been screaming, I can't get to him. Shift the truck. I need to get to my son. Yeah, he didn't even go down the hill. He didn't want to see his handiwork. Potentially, right? I know about the bag. He's too calm. I know my husband and me, I would stay there talking to him. Yeah, stay with me, son. Stay with me. They're coming. Hold on. Hang in there. Talk to me. But he's up on the hill going, oh, kind of talking about what happened. And then when they say talk to him, he yells at somebody else to talk to him. Yeah, very strange. Very, very strange. Right? That's what I'm saying. He's in shock either way. But yes, seems very suspicious with all the other things. Yeah, and he could be in shock. I'm just telling you what kind of stands out to me. Yeah, and I don't know if I would move the truck if it was stuck like that. it could make things worse, but I definitely I wouldn't care about slipping down a hill. I would be on those rocks. I would be down there checking on my boy. I find that extremely suspicious, along with the 911 call. Yeah, who put the truck in park, and how is it going to roll backwards if it's in park? It's an automatic vehicle. Beach Fairy says it sucks that people like that can be so charming too, fooling everyone. Yeah, superficial charm is what they call it. Making the victims look like the ones lying, etc. They can put it on so easily that people think he's such a nice guy. Yep, chameleon. If that's what's going on, potentially. Yeah, thank you guys for hitting that like button, and if you could share, get some other folks in here to join the conversation. I'd appreciate that. Christine says, why didn't they do reconstruction of how it happened? I mean, literally, there was no investigation. Mandy, welcome in. Good to see you. My poor grandpa lifted a vehicle off his son's chest. This guy didn't even try. I mean, he didn't even go down there. It's like what Fig said. He didn't want to see his handiwork, possibly, right? I don't want to go down there. That's a victim. I created that. At the very least, Mandy, investigate. Thank you, Farmer. The driver of the car I was in driver car I was in had a seizure and we crashed and he was choking, etc. I had to help him while still in the car. When I made that 999 call, because you're in Australia, right? I must have been a panic mess. I was in shock. Yeah, this guy seemed extremely calm. And if you're there and you're pre-planning this, right? I'll tell him to I'll get in the vehicle. If he did do this, I think it would have had to have gone down this way. He would have had to be in the passenger seat, told his son to do something like, or maybe they even made an arrangement to where he was in the driver's seat. We don't know. The only narrative we have is Aaron's. But at one point, they would have to be in the vehicle together. Go inside. I'll meet you in there. And as soon as he gets behind the vehicle, you just put it in reverse. Or maybe even some kind of an altercation, like a fight that kind of spewed into the ditch right there. Maybe he threw him into the ditch and then decided to drive the vehicle over him to make it appear a certain way. Welcome in, Thin Mint. Yeah. Okay, let's go into this video here. We've caught up on the chat. I'm going to start it over.
All right,
Here.
So I'm literally
You're parked here.
sitting right there. We both pull in. I'm
Yeah.
in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
My car's still running.
Yeah,
Last time I see Grant
right.
is literally like this. And I see him. I don't see the truck rolling yet.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't even see it roll until I see it kind of settling back there. Right at that time, I get like a word email, and I'm like, I just looked down for a second to see. So I didn't see to the point where he gets to this. This is the last thing I see.
Did he close that door?
He was closing the door when I saw him, and so and the doors were closed
Yeah.
when I get out. So I don't.
Oh,
know
yeah,
when
England.
the
Sorry,
truck
Beach Fair.
started rolling, because I told Tim, I said, Tim, if I had seen it start to roll, I would have jumped out. If I see the truck rolling, I'm going to jump out. And
Yeah.
be like, hey, get away from it.
Right.
Just like,
Oh,
whatever.
Of course.
Or make sure, try to pull him away or whatever.
You wouldn't have had
So
time.
I don't know whether he had
Yeah.
gotten to this or
So,
if
yeah.
it started rolling and he goes back. I don't know.
So then next.
So all I know is I look down, then I look up, and I see I look over here and I don't see the truck. I look in my mirror and I see the truck settling in the ditch so quickly. So I hop out immediately.
Yeah.
I hop out and I look right here, expecting to see him like laying here
Or standing.
Yeah.
Up there. Yeah.
Yes.
Up there.
And as soon as I don't see him right here, my heart goes, and I start walking. And as I'm walking right here, the truck is angled like that.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through the windshield. So I'm like, all right, maybe he got back in the truck. And I'm walking, and he's not in the windshield. He's not inside.
He's not in the windshield.
He's not inside the truck. And so then my heart even goes further. And right about here, I can see his red shirt that he was wearing, and I see his face barely, because I can't see his entire body because he's under. I can only see.
Right.
Okay, so this is a part that's really stands out to me. He's telling us that he can see a little bit of his red shirt and somewhat of his face. Okay, why aren't you in this ditch to get a better look? And he also kind of slipped up and said, well, when I went to check on him, I expected to see him on the ground. If you didn't see where he went, why are you expecting him to be hurt at all? You know what I mean?
I can only see like this right here, and I immediately just get weak, and I immediately pull up my phone to call 911, and I'm trying to be calm for them, and somebody had just run out and said, man, you need to sit down, because they could tell I was getting weak, but I needed to be strong, and I knew looking at this, that humans could not, the 3 or 4 people or 5 people couldn't help at the moment. That 911 needed to get here immediately. So I'm on with the dispatch going, please get here fast.
So he was pinned over there. It had already finished its roll.
Oh, yeah, it did stop.
He was over there.
Yeah.
Okay. And you saw his
And
red.
I'm like, get here fast. And I still had the number in my 1357 South Water. My son there's been an accident. My son is trapped underneath the truck. And she's like, all right, give me some more information. And then once they hang up, crews are literally here because downtown is so close. They were here quickly. And somebody's like, man, you don't need to basically not come down there because I may fall and I.
Yeah, man, you don't need to come down there because I might fall. What are you talking about, dude?
It's like, man, you don't need to basically not come down there because I may fall and I can't. And I'm like right here, like laying down. I'm laying down. Sitting
right here. Yeah.
And the crews get here, and immediately, they've got fire trucks and ambulances, and guys are getting out of the truck, with jacks and braces. Because I knew in my mind, even if, it would take maybe 20 men to pick up the front end of the truck. And even then, the weight of it could roll. So I knew we needed equipment quickly. And so they get out, and they're jacking it up, and immediately a police officer says, Mr. Solomon, we need you to come with us in here. And at the moment, I was mad. I was like, don't take me from my son. Don't take me. Well, actually, before that, you might have heard some of that, because I'm calling you next, saying there's been a horrific accident. I'm in a panic. Just get here. We're in Gallatin.
Yeah,
all that. Then the police officer pulls me in there.
That's when I heard it in there.
Okay.
So they're yelling.
Right. Yeah, because I was on with dispatch quite a while. They said, stay on the line with us.
Yes, Beach Fairy says, this is where I was sitting. This is how I was feeling. This is what I was told. This is what happened to my heart. This is what I did. It seems like it's all about him. He didn't even get in the ditch. He's like, I sat right here and I laid down on the pavement. I didn't get in the ditch. They told me, not to because I might fall. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah. And so they pull me in there to talk to me, And at the time, I was mad. But then after the fact, I think that was so I wouldn't see everything
Yeah.
and make it worse.
And then that's when we got them to tell us some of the regional hospital, and
Yeah.
I left and headed this
Right.
way.
As soon as they got him in the ambulance, then they let me come out and basically chase the ambulance to the hospital.
Yeah, but you never made it down there, or
Not all the way down.
and you didn't open the truck doors.
No.
Okay.
No. Nobody opened. Nobody touched him or the truck, because there were a couple dudes.
And you just saw it here and was like, I got to call.
Oh, I got to call, because there's no way we can help him. Somebody at a higher
and
level.
You could see from here that he was not.
Yes. Oh no, I'm right here.
Right.
Yeah. I'm right here, and his eyes are closed. He's unconscious. There's no mouth movement. I'm looking. There's no mouth movement. There's no crying. There's no yelling. There's no moaning. There's no screaming. He's out. I mean, I know he's out.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So.
And the witness, he's going to give us a different account of what happened. He's going to say that he was alive at the time, clearly alive.
We've built that up a little bit. See how Sam.
I know.
See how.
A lot of faith in that truck.
I know.
See how Sam is built up.
Oh, yeah.
So if anybody comes or wants to come, they know.
I know.
But they know how to. I mean,
I'm not sure who he's talking to right there. Hiawatha. I don't know if it's Grant's mother or maybe the workers there on that. They might work there, it sounds like. But I'm not sure about that. Yeah, we don't know. I'm not here to accuse him. We're just here to explain why it's suspicious, right? Here, let's look at a video that was posted by Angie Solomon onto her Facebook group about the situation.
Hey, I'm Angie Solomon. I'm Grant Solomon and Gracie Solomon's mom. And this is our official family Facebook page. This is where you
link to the group is in the description.
With us directly via Messenger or the email that's provided in the bio. We would really appreciate any tips or leads you might have in relation to Grant's death, or anything that might be of value that would be connected. We're at a point right now where there's been no investigation opened ever for Grant. There has not been an autopsy performed. There is no accident reconstruction that has been performed. There were no forensics done on the vehicle, the truck that Grant was found under. And the only witness's explanation to what happened defies logic, gravity, medicine, common sense. So if not that, our question is then what happened to him? And all we are trying to do as a family, Gracie and I, are just pleading with the public to help us get an investigation open for him.
Absolutely.
So that we can just get the truth of what happened to my son and her brother, and to many, many, many of the young people in this area's best friend. If you'd like to help in other ways, you can sign the petition that's linked below. You can also contribute to the GoFundMe. We do have that set up to go directly to Grant's Foundation, so that it will pay for attorney's fees to get things that we need to have done, like exhumation and accident reconstruction. Again, you can also contact us in the messenger section here on Facebook, or on email at justiceforgrant@proton.me. And before I go, I should actually tell you what the GoFundMe is, and that is Justice for Grant. Thank you so much, and I do look forward to hearing from you.
All that is linked in the description of this video. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything here. Okay, let's listen to the witness there that worked at the facility. His name is Drew Hall.
Yeah, it was like 8 a.m. We were in there kind of getting ready.
This is from Daily Mail. Link is in the description.
When I came out, I didn't even know what was going on. What I noticed was I was walking by the door is open right now, and just cars were parked sideways. As you can see, like people kind of park vertically, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, why are people parked like this? Like, I'm like, what's going on? And then I came out, and the truck was already on them, and Grant's dad was over there on the phone, I guess, calling the paramedics. Yeah, I was screaming when I saw seeing the cars.
So you saw cars?
I just thought people.
And what do you mean parked sideways? Like, not like that?
Yeah, well, like that, but up here. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Up here next to the building, parked sideways.
Did you discover, were these emergency vehicles, like police cars?
These were just
regular cars.
Stopped to help. Yeah, they were just regular cars. I think somebody maybe
yeah.
saw the truck was or whatever, but I think, and like I said, and they said there were like some construction workers. They had on high vis. Is all I know.
You came out. You saw the cars parked weird. How many people did you see? Do you recall? Four people.
Like 3 or 4.
The truck was already down in the ditch. You saw Aaron Solomon where? Kind of in the parking lot?
Like on the edge of the grass right there. Like literally looking out.
And he's on the phone. Okay.
Okay.
And then, so Aaron, truck, and then who else did you see? I know you didn't know them, but how many people did you see? 3-ish people. And they looked like construction workers, I guess?
So they were
like the yellow kind of jackets?
Well, you see like linemen, construction workers. It's just like anytime you work on the road or like in something like that.
Yeah.
You have to wear high vis.
And it was 3 or so people. At that point, were there police cars or fire trucks or anything like that?
15 minutes later.
Okay. That's super helpful. I appreciate that. So you saw that commotion. I'm sure you kind of waited out here, or did you call to Aaron and say like, "Hey, everything okay? What's going on?"
I walked down here and tried to figure out what happened because I saw Grant under the truck, and to keep in mind, I didn't even know what happened. It looked like somebody I thought was walking on the sidewalk, and the truck came off the road. Is what you assume. You don't assume it rolled backwards and he got trapped.
You see it there. You think
you just assume like, oh, someone was texting or something and drove into this ditch.
Yeah.
But then I realized after talking to Aaron that they were coming here for the assessment. Like, I didn't even know really that they were coming here. So they were coming for the assessment, and then 4 or 5 minutes goes by, and you hear the sirens, and they come, and then obviously we kind of get out of the way and let the fire department do their thing.
So that's one of the major points too. You said you saw the 3 folks here. Did you stay out here until the police and all them came by? Because during the 911 call, Aaron. It seems like he mentions those 3 individuals, but according to the reports, when police get there, those 3 individuals are not there.
Yeah, I think they left.
Did you see them leave?
I think I maybe went in to call Tucker, the owner of the building, and say, like, hey, like, you might want to come down here.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
Okay, but you don't necessarily remember seeing them leave.
No, not
yourself
specifically.
Okay.
Because I did at one point go in to call Tucker and let him know.
Yeah.
Something's going on. Like, you might want to come down here and check things out.
Sure. Okay. And then obviously you kind of watch the scene unfold, and you see them with the truck. Right. You see them take them out.
Yep.
Did you talk to Aaron or anyone else after that?
I didn't talk to Aaron after that first interaction. I don't believe. I'm not 100% sure, but
sure.
It wasn't any meaningful conversation. It was like I just was down there, saw Grant. At the time, he was moving his head and was alive. So,
did you hear what he said? He said he was moving in his head and was alive for sure.
So I obviously didn't know how grave the situation was. I didn't see blood or anything. I thought maybe he was just trapped, like couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So it was obviously like really unclear how serious the situation was. But paramedics show up, get out of the way, and then I go in and call Tucker, let him know to come down. And then when I come back, paramedics are basically rolling down the road and they're doing their thing.
Okay. And then lastly, so you don't remember Aaron being called into the building and being talked to by police?
Really. I mean, he very well could have. I just
could. And the last thing you saw was, I guess, did you see them leave with Grant?
Yes, I saw the ambulance drive off. The truck was still there. I said, where they jacked it up. We're still on the jacks.
Is there anything else you can think of that seems unusual about the situation you saw, or something that looked out of place?
Not really. I mean, the same questions everyone else had. Like, it's interesting, like how he ended up under the truck, but at the same time, it seems very Like, like if you were going to do it on purpose, that's how you were going to do something.
Yeah, well, I guess if you were going to do something, yeah, you would do it so where it looked like an accident. Have you guys seen I'm not sure if it's on Netflix, but it's a series on the Black Widower where he's accused of killing like 3 of his wives. Well, one of the witnesses came forward and said that they practiced killing one of his wives, who eventually was murdered, in multiple ways. You know, they talked about how he was going to make it look like an accident. And looks like I lost my camera, guys. Don't worry about it. I have a bad cable. No big deal. We should still be running. But yeah, I think if you're going to get away with the murder, you need to make it look like an accident, right? Not saying that that's what this is, but let's go back to the street view here. I don't see one camera on this building. No cameras over here. No other businesses behind. I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like a golf course, maybe. And nothing over here. You know, crazy people, they're always looking for the perfect murder. And if what Grant's mother and sister are alleging, I mean, this guy has motive here. Can you email that to me, Beachberry? I mean, it really depends. I got to make sure we don't get hit with a copyright or something like that. Yeah, Hiawatha, very remote. You know, nobody there to really witness anything, but possibly somebody driving by. So if you get into an altercation, let's say you throw your son off of this cliff right here. And then after the fact, you roll the truck over him. Because it doesn't make any sense that it actually did roll over him unless somehow it hit this edge and popped up and Grant attempted to get up and roll over. I mean, how is his head facing the building? Very strange. All right, let's go into some of these statements and some of the medical documents here, and then we'll try to do our own little crash recreation, try to make sense of this. Because, I mean, it is possible it was just an accident, which is the most likely scenario. It's just all the strangeness surrounding it. Okay. So this is a statement from his father, Aaron. My son Grant and I parked into the WPI separately, parked side by side. I was still in my car, but noticed my son got out to get his baseball. Is that gear? Baseball gear out of the back of his truck. Now, I don't think he means the back. I think he means the back seat. I looked down to check a work email, and the next thing I know, I hear and see the truck rolling backwards into the ditch. I get out of my car, to try to find my son and saw that he was trapped underneath the truck and immediately called 911. Thank you, Beach Fairy. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, it's from Daily Mail. Okay. We should be able to get away with some fair use here. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that one. All right, and this is just for educational purposes on the case. So thanks again,
For
Beach Fairy.
those that may not know, I'm Grant's dad. Before I begin, I have to say a huge thank you to everyone who's here, who may be watching, who has reached out via social media, calls, text. The outpouring of prayers and support has been overwhelmingly, indescribably amazing. The entire family appreciates it, feels it.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I think what I'm going to be looking for during this whole thing is one tear. Tears are extremely hard for a psychopath to produce. So I'm going to be looking closely for that.
It truly makes a difference. It does help. People have said there are no words. I know there aren't any words, but prayers matter. All right, you've heard a lot about the teenage years with Grant. I'm going to give you a few funny things about Grant you may not know. Most of you may not know. Just a few of us know. You might have noticed in two of the pictures of the slideshow from his birthday, the night he was born. If you notice, his eyes were just so wide open. From the moment he was born, he had this wide-eyed curiosity about the entire world. It was like he was studying and exploring every family member that held him that first night, starting with his mom. His eyes were so wide, and because he was passed around with close family, within an hour, we had given him the nickname Mr. Peepers. That was his first nickname because of his eyes. And he was Mr. Peepers for a few years until things graduated and other stuff. Now, thanks to sports playing a major role in the lives of both of his parents growing up, Mr. Peepers had a baseball, a football, a basketball, and a basketball goal in his crib when he got home from the hospital. Got to start him early, right, coaches? You know? But his curiosity went way beyond just sports. You may have also noticed a couple of pictures from the slideshow that appeared to be dinosaur themed, right? If you noticed that, that was the great dinosaur birthday party, complete with one of the grandmas in costume, because Grant loved dinosaurs, couldn't get enough. So from like age 2 to 4, me and Angie found every dinosaur book we could find on the planet. And he wanted me to teach him how to pronounce every name properly, like at 2.5. I'm not kidding. So I'm not talking like T-Rex and Velociraptor, man. That's the easy stuff. He's got that. No, I'm talking Brachiosaurus. I'm talking about Archaeopteryx. Yeah, you didn't know that one. I'm talking about Giganotosaurus. Yes, 5-syllable dinosaur names, and all of them. He knew how to say all of them correctly, and he would correct adults often
Yeah,
if
no
you
emotion.
spoke them incorrectly, but he would do it in a nice way. Now, around that same age, we found out that he really liked baseball, and he wasn't too bad. He had not turned 3 years old yet. We're in the yard, and he's hitting a plastic ball with a plastic bat off a plastic tee.
He seems very focused in on the sports and how, he was doing the right thing at a young age to make sure he gets into professional sports. But one thing I don't notice is any emotion. One thing I've learned about psychopathy, and I'm not like a specialist or anything, but I do, I do a lot of reading and I read the literature on it, is that if he did plan to kill his son and make it look like an accident, in his mind, it was Grant's fault, right? If he wouldn't have done what he did, he wouldn't have to do what he did. So if Grant would have not been trying to take custody, wouldn't have been sticking up for his daughter and his mom, or his sister and his mom, this would not have happened. So there is going to be no remorse. So I'm still looking for that tear. Where are the tears? Where's the mustering up of his words? Where is all of that? Where's the struggle to get it out?
And he's cranking some out. Mind you, he's not 3 yet. And all of a sudden, he just leans over, knocks the tee down, and says, I don't need that anymore. And me and Angie look at each other like, what is he talking about? He's not even 3. But I'm like, hey, he's calling me out. Okay, I got you. So I get the ball. I get like 10, 12 feet away. And I just, it's the little soft, gentle, soft toss. First one, cranked up on the roof of the house. I'm not kidding. Me and Angie look at each other with jaws on the ground. We're like,
something tells me Angie's
all
not
right,
with
let me
him
get that
on
ball
this one.
back. That was just beginner's luck, right? Second softball, just 10 feet away, cranked up onto the roof of the house again. I'm like, all right. I get the ball. I'm like, all right, let's try this out. So I get about 15 or 16 feet away. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. And I give an overhand pitch. You can probably guess what happened. An absolute laser that like almost takes out a window on the side of the house. And it's a plastic ball. And we're just like, what in the world? So from that moment on, he's not even 3. I threw overhand like that to him even last week.
Oh, here it is. Let's see where the tears are.
Nope.
Nope.
A little side note.
No tear.
T-ball parents were tripping out when that started happening because he started playing immediately in T-ball, and I'm throwing overhand to a T-ball player, and that kind of, they were like, whoa, and then they saw.
Superficial. Was he trying
All
to
right,
wipe
there's
away
a couple
something?
funny stories that a lot of you didn't know. Now, as long as I can remember, I've always believed that things happen for a reason.
Let me go to Farmer here. It says, here we go. Cue the emotions. Well, if we're dealing with psychopathy, what he's doing is he's looking out into the audience, right? And they're showing emotions. They're crying. So he's most likely saying, okay, that's my cue. I need to show some kind of emotion here. But one thing that we always see with psychopaths is, not saying that's what we're dealing with, we're wondering, is they will wipe away tears that are not there. So I'm waiting for that moment.
And I think maybe it was born from the fact that my birth father died in Vietnam when I was 7 months old. So for years as a kid, I wondered why. We're all wondering why right now. But then later, I realized that it had to be a godly thing. He was the why. If my dad had not died, my mom would not have remarried the man who loved me, adopted me, and raised me and moved us to Tennessee, which led me to having two amazing sisters. It also allowed me to meet Angie, which led Angie to giving birth to the two most amazing children, Grant and Gracie.
And we all know the reports on that.
Godly things.
Accusations.
The way we were led to discovering Grace Christian Academy. We discovered it during its first year. Tiny school, started right in this building. Then Grant started here in third grade, and Gracie was in preschool in its second year of existence. And you've heard from a couple of his original classmates that have been with him along this journey. But that's a godly thing that we ended up here, that Grant and Gracie ended up here. Fast forward to Monday morning. Around 8:45, something happens right beside me that is such a blink of the eye, bizarre, fluky, tragic, unexplainable accident that takes Grant's spirit from this earth. And the only way I can rationalize it in my mind is it's a godly thing.
Complex,
and
maybe?
while it has me, his mom, his sister, his girlfriend, his family, his scores of friends, teachers, coaches, and teammates, heartbroken, mad, confused, and a lot of us asking why, ever since Monday morning, I, along with his mom, his sister.
Okay, now I just want everybody to realize that his sister, Grant's sister, Aaron's daughter, has come out publicly and said that this man and they accused him not only attempting to kill Grant's mother, but molesting and raping Gracie, Grant's 13-year-old sister at the time. And she 100% believes that her father was responsible for this murder. So all these claims had been made public by this time. So when he keeps talking about Gracie and he keeps talking about Angie, just imagine what they're thinking in their minds at this very moment. And he doesn't care about any of that.
His girlfriend, his best friend, his family, his scores of friends, teachers, coaches, and teammates have been experiencing Grantley things. And Pastor Steve, pardon me, I don't mean that in a blasphemous way. At Monday night's prayer vigil, Ed Cash starts talking about Grant, and the most vibrant rainbow I've ever seen appears right there in front of us. You can see both ends, which I've never seen, and it's right in front of the gathering, and it's actually almost a mirror image of the formation of the ark that the crowd had gathered in right there. That's a Grantley thing.
Grantley. That's weird.
At the same time, 763 miles away in Sarasota, Florida, Grant's good friend and former teammate, Carson Ford, who was just up here, is sitting on the beach in Sarasota, mourning about the loss of his friend and thinking about Grant. He didn't know anything about the rainbow back here in Leapers Fork, but guess what appeared to Carson? A rainbow. That's a Grantley thing. And of course, as we've all shared and talked about, there have been multiple rainbows around all over here ever since Monday. And ever since Monday, Angie and I have been bombarded with stories from people a lot like what you've heard, but of other ages as well, adults, people that he didn't play with and go to school with, people who hadn't met him, but telling us how Grant positively impacted their life. There are scores more that didn't even share today that have been shared with us, and that means a lot. One young man came through the visitation line last night and gave me an envelope with 5 written pages. 3 to me explaining what Grant meant to him, and 2 more pages written to Grant telling Grant what he meant, which is a lot of what you've heard. What truly warms our heart to know that our son made people feel that way. I know it warms mine. Lots of stories. Just this morning, Brent Doherty, a friend of mine, sends me a picture of his son, Will, at a 13U baseball tournament in Jackson, Tennessee, with his son wearing the crosses painted on his face. And he's 12. And he said, 4G money. But the Grantley thing that so far blows my
Let's go to Hiawatha. Did I hear that the church school is being sued by community members for not reporting the abuse of Gracie? Yes, that is true.
mind the most. After
Hey,
the
Jerry.
accident scene was cleared Monday, a man was looking around the scene and found Grant's cell phone, his GCA baseball hat, and what's left of the sports goggles he was wearing. Ironically, this man just happens to know one of my best friends, Lee, and gets my number from Lee, texts me to know that he has Grant's things and he wants them returned to his family. This man is 55, 56 years old, admits to Lee that he has never in his life been a believer, ever. Had done a couple things in his life and lived rough, just didn't believe. But he tells Lee, what happened to Grant Monday has affected him so deeply that he's a believer now.
So he's probably trying to take credit for
That is
that.
Grant teaming up with the ultimate coach to win even bigger games than he won down here. That's a Grantley thing.
Mm-hmm.
Grant and Gracie, you have both made me the proudest dad in the world since the day you were born. Grant,
I'm not seeing the tears, guys.
I have wished since 8:45 Monday morning that I could trade places with you so that Gracie would have her brother and that Gracie and Angie and the rest of the people who love you wouldn't hurt so deeply, and that you could live on and do great things here on this earth. But you have already done more on this earth than me and many other people that I know will ever do in a lifetime. And for those of you who are grieving and hurting so deeply, like we are, a rising sophomore basketball player at Providence Christian Academy in Murfreesboro said it well when she wrote 2 pages to my sister, who's her coach, wrote a letter to console her, which included the verse Isaiah 43:2, when you go through deep waters, I will be with you. And she included the quote, grief is the last act of love we can give to those we loved. Where there is great grief, there is great love.
And I don't see any grief.
I have felt great grief all week, and of course I have, because there is great love for Grant Rhodes Huffine Solomon. Grant, I will always love you. I'm proud to be your dad, and I can't wait to play catch again with you on that big field of dreams in the sky.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that, guys. You know,
Days after
'Cause-
arriving at a
because
Sheraton
if you're wrong, you know, you're horribly wrong. And, you know, I apologize if I am wrong, but he said where there's grief, there's love. I didn't see any grief there, guys. I didn't see one tear. I thought I almost did. I saw the eyes get a little bit red, like he was trying to muster up a tear. But man, this is really tough. That's the only witness right there. Man accused of rape, attempted murder, and abuse. And who his own daughter believes is responsible for the murder of Grant. Very strange. I can't make sense of that. Okay, I think this is from one of the first responders here. Paramedic 12 responds emergency traffic to the scene of a reported MVC versus a pedestrian. MVC, that sounds like what? A moving vehicle collision? Something like that. 7/20/22 at 8:56 a.m. Patient is CO. I don't know what that is. Multiple injuries due to being struck by a vehicle and resulting traumatic cardiac arrest. Patient's PMHX is unable to be obtained as the patient is unresponsive. UOA, unresponsive on arrival, I'm assuming. Patient was reportedly forced under the vehicle as it was rolling down an incline parking lot until finally coming to rest in the drainage ditch bordering the roadway with the patient trapped underneath the vehicle and unresponsive. All right, this is by EMS. Patient with father about to practice pitching, put car in park, got out and went to get the baseball bat out of the back of the truck. Dad thinks truck was not in park. Truck rolled back on patient, dragging him down a hill and into a ditch. EMS and fire arrive, extracted patient from under the truck. EMS intubated patient, started an IO to lower left extremity, CPR in progress. Socks and shoes with mom. Okay, because of time, let's go here to the discussion portion of this. Okay, I put this together before the live stream. Let me pull this up. Okay, explain to me how his head ends up here with his feet kind of coming out near the driver's side door and the passenger door. There's a puddle of blood here, and his goggles are found somewhere in the grassy area right here. Now, to me, the only way that is possible is the fact that he's not being dragged by the vehicle, that he may even be pushing the vehicle, trying to hold it, and then is tripped by the large uncut grass. Remember, I showed you, let me pull those back up. Thanks for sending me that beach fairy, but I don't think I can show that. I think they'll hit us with a copyright on that one. So he could have tripped here, and the vehicle would have popped up. Would have the back tires would have came off the ground, giving Grant enough, a split second to roll over, and then the truck to kind of roll a little bit more over the top of him. And you can kind of see the puddle of blood there. And his glasses were found somewhere like over here in the grass. So if a vehicle is dragging you or rolling over the top of you, how is your head facing forward and your feet facing towards the street now? And that's the part I don't understand. Because if it rolled over you and caused you to kind of roll with it, you're going to be laying down on your stomach. Yeah, that was a very strange speech that he gave. I didn't see one tear. Everything looked like superficial. The sniffing, the scrunched up chin. The fact that he kept talking about his wife and daughter knowing that they despise him. It's almost like he was using this opportunity to see, like, look how powerful I am. You thought that he would save you, but instead he got himself killed. And it's all your fault. Yeah, exactly. Very strange. Like, even for him to get up there and give that kind of a speech, knowing that the world is fully aware of those accusations, is kind of like an ego trip. Like, I'm smarter than you. You thought that you could F with me. Look at your protector now. It's your fault. Yep, Hiawatha refused the autopsy. Very strange. I think they should give him a lie detector test. Well, it's an automatic, farmer. If it's in park, it shouldn't be moving. It is on an incline. So really, all you would have to do is put it in park. So the only real answer to me is that the vehicle didn't roll over him, that there may have been an altercation, and then the vehicle was rolled over the top of him to finish the job. Because the wounds aren't really consistent with a rollover. And why is there a puddle of blood like this when he was nowhere near here? I can understand if he landed here on the back of his head. But the puddle of blood wouldn't be here because it would open the wound and it would take maybe a second or two to begin to bleed, right? And then the puddle would be over here somewhere. But the fact that his glasses are right here, it does make it seem as if he could have tripped. His glasses go flying over here, and then he bumps his head. So either he was pushed during an altercation or something like that, and then the truck rolled over the top of him. Thank you, Mustang. That was very thoughtful of you. Very generous. Thank you, guys. Welcome in, Jerry. It's good to see you. And Ziggy. So I believe this might be the father's truck right here. So he would have been parked right here. And why did it turn? And why is he facing forward? That just doesn't make any sense to me. It's almost as if he tried to dive out of the way. And these handprints, these are not Grant's handprints. Those were put there by a friend of his. So I just want you guys to, I don't want you to be looking at those handprints right here and think, oh my God, what is that? No, those were already there. And there's his baseball bag right there on the ground. Like, what is it doing over here? Very strange. It looks staged. Thank you, Farmer. Yeah, if you guys can help me make sense of it, I'd appreciate that. So his legs were kind of right here up this hill, and his head was kind of sticking out of the front over here. And his father, Aaron, wasn't even on the grass. He was like laying on the pavement right here, talking down, according to the witness, talking down to his son. Me personally, I would have been all the way down here on these rocks. I would have made my way over here, looking up underneath the vehicle this way. On the other side of the vehicle, he didn't even come down to the grass because somebody told him he might slip and fall. Very, very strange. CJK, good to see you. Welcome in. Yes, there was not a thorough investigation whatsoever. All right. If you guys are appalled by what you're hearing here, these are the folks that you need to contact. And I don't know if these are the folks who are still in the positions of power. But you have the mayor, Paige Brown. There's a number you can use to contact her, or an email, asking why they refuse to open up this investigation. Chief of Police, Don Bandy. There's his office number. You guys could shoot him an email asking him why. After these accusations and an obvious motive, and why at least was there no investigation done? It's that simple. You don't need to investigate Aaron. You don't need to arrest Aaron. You just need to investigate and gather the facts. Crime recreation, an actual autopsy done to back up any of those findings. And then you have the Sumner County District Attorney, Ray Whitley. Make sure you guys give him a call and an email asking him why. Do you not care? It's not too much to ask, is it? What if it was your son or your brother. I bet you there'd be an investigation then, right? Paige, Dawn, Ray. I bet you there'd be an investigation at that time. I mean, how many interrogations do you have to have where you know people are guilty, your understanding of human behavior, for you to be suspicious of this man? And if I'm wrong, you know, I'm a piece of shit. But I didn't see any grief there. I didn't see a grieving father. I saw somebody who was telling the world, fuck with me and find out. That's what I saw. But what do I know? Either way, guys, that's going to do it for today's True Crime in the Morning. If you have anything you would like to add, please leave me a comment. If you're part of the replay crew, you know exactly what to do. Leave that comment and I'll get back to you. You can always shoot me an email at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Yes, and if you guys would like to look further into the case, there is, just as Beach Fairy's pointing out, look up Gracie's story, A Cry for Help, on YouTube. It's Grant's sister's story told by her. So you can hear it from her own mouth about the accusations of abuse and molestation by her father, and how her brother was her only protector of her and her mother against him. And these are just accusations. There's been no charges brought. From what I know, there hasn't even been a thorough investigation into those claims. But if you'd like to see that for yourself, go check it out. It's titled A Cry for Help. Thanks again, Beach Fairy. Also, the petition and the GoFundMe links are in the description of this video. And also the Facebook page, if you guys are interested. Here's a link right here. Thank you, Beach Fairy. Special thank you to Farmer, Alex, Frank Meister, GP, and Mustang. And all of my members and everybody who donates to the Cash App. I could not do this without you. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks again. Have a great day.